Hey guys, it's OCP Communications, and welcome to my review / rant on Executive Decision. One of my least favorite movies, and definitely my pick for the worst Kurt Russell movie. At least starring Kurt Russell. I hate this fucking movie. I'm gonna be honest. It's a strong word. I know. Hate is a strong word. Yeah, well, it's true. I hate this goddamn movie. I hate this fucking movie. I hate Executive Decision. Okay, this is the second time I'm reviewing ranting on this fucking thing. I already ranted on it before. Okay. And now it just fucking caused me physical pain because I smacked it so hard it fucked up my hand. So fucking thank you very much, Executive Decision. Anyway, yeah, I don't like this movie, as you can see, by my tone of voice and by my rapid-fire profanity that will be featured in this rant. I'm not a fan of this movie. Now, the reason why I watch this again is because I've been reviewing these type of movies, because I just thought, hey, might as well get this genre out of the way. It's not one of my favorites, but okay, whatever. And also, somebody actually mentioned this film on one of my reviews, a comment. They were nice about it. They said, check it out. You want to watch a good one, a good plane disaster movie, check out Executive Decision. I sent a reply back. I'm like, I don't care for that movie, but I'll try to give it another watch. Well, after about 2 months of attempts, yeah, for about 2 months, I attempted to watch this movie. And keyword, attempted. 3 times to watch this movie by myself. Each time resulted in me shutting it off because I was bored out of my goddamn mind. So, the only way I was able to finish watching this movie again for the third and final time, because I'm not watching this movie again, was with the help of a good friend of mine, Matt, and Ramble Rat for Life. So, we sat down and watched this piece of shit, and it was miserable for both of us. We tried the best we could to, riff on it and make fun of it to make the experience enjoyable, or at least somewhat. But no, we couldn't do that because, well, it's just a fucking boring movie where nothing fucking happens. The real title should be Nothing Fucking Happens, the movie. So, but anyway, we did the best we could. And only by the grace of God were we able to finish watching this movie in one sitting. It is pure and simple torture. It's the worst type of movie for me personally. A movie where nothing fucking happens. A movie that has good production values and has a good cast and has, I thought were good writers, and Jim and John Thomas, who wrote the screenplay for Predator. But no, they decided to write a script that's boring as fucking sin. And the whole movie itself, it was bad enough. It's a movie that's bad enough that my friend doesn't even want to review it. He's not even going to review it. He even said if he were to review it, it would just be him sitting in the chair with his eyes closed, snoring. And then that's it. That's the review. My friend Matt, fast the fuck asleep. I don't blame him, because this movie, Executive Decision, is a perfect, alternative to NyQuil. So there's just so much wrong with this movie. And the thing is that what's wrong with it is that nothing happens. You have sequences that result in nothing fucking happening. You have twists that result in nothing fucking happening. You have a lead in Kurt fucking Russell, an actor can be an effective badass. Snake Plissken, Jack Burton, Jack O'Neill, Soldier from Soldier, the list goes, Todd from Soldier, the list goes on, and you have him playing a complete fucking wimp in this movie, who gets his foot caught in a fucking airplane cart in the climax. So you also have Steven Seagal in a film of Kurt Russell, and you kill him off in the first 30 minutes, and I guess to be shocking. But honestly, I want to die along with Steven Seagal when you get to that point in the film. You have good effects by LM, which I think it's Industrial Light and Magic. Whatever. Whoever did the effects, I think it was actually Richard Edlund's company, I think. Boss Films. But either way, whichever company did the effects, they did a good job. They're nice to look at. Doesn't mean it's a good movie. You can put some of the effects on. Oh, that's pretty. That's nice to look at. But is the whole movie around it worth the shit? No! It's not worth the fucking shit. It's not even worth taking a shit on this movie. Because it's just not fucking worth it. So anyway, so you have all this good cast, you have good production values, you have a big budget. It was like a $50 million budget. Yeah, it was $60 million budget. This was a hit. It made $121 million. I think that's worldwide though. I don't think that's it got positive reviews. Leonard Maltin called it an A standard but enjoyable. Called it a standard but enjoyable. Excuse me. Ah. So I'm allergic to this film's bullshit. Yeah, Leonard Maltin called it a standard but enjoyable action thriller that somewhat falls apart towards the end, but still worth the trip. Not worth the trip at all, in my opinion. Yeah, it made international takings. In the U.S. only made $56 million. Worldwide, it made $121. So it still made some money. It says like high-flying, edge-of-your-seat entertainment is one of the reviews on the VHS and the DVD. High-flying, edge-of-your-seat entertainment, fasten your seatbelts. You know what? I like to just cut in footage from Stone Cold Steve Austin and his whole what thing he does in WWE, because that's exactly how I fucking feel about these bullshit reviews in this movie. A 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, which is a higher rating than fucking Cliffhanger. And it's pissing me off. How the fuck can anybody look at this piece of shit, boring ass excuse for a thriller and say it's better than Cliffhanger? How the fuck can anybody do that? It's fine if that's your opinion, but I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get why people like this movie. It's fine if you like it. I'm not trying to be angry at if I come across that way, I'm terribly sorry. I'm not trying to be mad at the people who like this movie. That's cool. That's fine. I don't like this movie, and I don't understand why people hold this in high regard as one of the best thrillers or a better movie than Cliffhanger. I don't understand that, because nothing fucking happens. Anyway, so yeah, all those good reviews, high-flying, edge-of-your-seat entertainment, an action thriller for the ages, blah, 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 blah. I gotta say, what? 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 What the fuck? Because I don't get it. So anyway, and I also found out Halle Berry got paid $1 million to be in this movie. $1 million. Like, that's not that much, really, when you think about it. Well, back then, in 1996, that's a decent amount of money. And she got paid $1 million to stand around looking pretty, look pretty, say 4 lines, maybe more, a little bit more than that, and write shit on her hand and point it at the screen. She got paid $1 million to do that shit. You know what? The only way I'm gonna sit through this fucking piece of shit is if somebody pays me $1 million. Then I'll watch this goddamn movie again. But I'm not watching it if I don't get paid the same amount of money that Halle Berry got paid for just standing around looking hot and sexy and saying maybe 4 lines and doing a terrible job at that and writing shit on her hands and shoving it in the screen on the camera so Kurt Russell and company and the guys who are on the plane can figure out what fucking box or what button or whatever fucking thing to push or look for, or like, I give a fuck. I don't care. This movie bores me to fucking tears. And damn right I'm pissed. This movie pisses me off because it's so fucking boring and it's such a disappointment because you have a You have a solid cast. You have Kurt Russell, you have Halle Berry, you have John Leguizamo, you have Oliver Platt, you have Joe Morton, you have David Suchet, you have Steven Seagal, you have a score by Jerry Goldsmith, and Jerry Goldsmith doesn't even deliver the goods. And that's a rare occurrence. Jerry Goldsmith's score is lame. Jerry Goldsmith's score in this movie sounds like something I'd hear on a direct-to-video thriller, the same sort of ilk, maybe but from the creators of Airborne with Steve Guttenberg. And I'll say it outright, Airborne is a better movie than Executive Decision, because Airborne didn't have nearly as much the budget. It had more going for it, and Steve Guttenberg does more shit than anybody in this entire goddamn movie. And he doesn't even do that much. That's what you know you're talking about a movie where nothing fucking happens when you compare it to a direct-to-video movie where the lead actor in Steve Guttenberg in Airborne barely does a little bit, has a few moments here and there, but at least he gets in a fucking shootout. At least he shoots some people. Kurt Russell doesn't do jack shit except land a plane, crash some fucking planes at the end. Because he gets his foot caught in a cart and lets the bad guy press the detonate button, and thank God for fucking Oliver Platt and his magic wand, which is like a fucking, I don't know, a Tootsie Roll stick or Tootsie Pop stick or something, a straw, puts it in the machine and stops it from going off, the bomb or some shit. But I don't even like talking about this movie. As you can see, it just puts me in a bad mood. So yeah, Jerry Goldsmith's score was shitty. Really, it was generic. It was, you know, nothing different about it. And even some of the parts of the score even sounded like they were from Alien, which doesn't fit with this type of movie. And the screenplay by Jim and John Thomas was just lackluster. And the directing by Stuart Baird, who was a great editor, was very flat. It just didn't seem like there was any sort of life to it. Just very flat directing. And that's one of the many reasons why this is a flat, boring movie. This movie is like drinking a flat, day-old soda, okay? It's not refreshing. So you have the plot, basically just of the plot, you have Lieutenant Colonel Austin Travis, because I have to look on Wikipedia to tell you guys the plot, because I've already fucking forgotten it. I watched it 2 days ago with my friend, and I don't remember a goddamn thing about this movie, because if I start to remember anything, I'll just fall the fuck asleep. I'll just become a narcoleptic and just go, and fall asleep in the middle of wherever I'm at. I could be walking around in public, going to drop something off at the post office, and I think about Executive Decision, and then I fall the fuck asleep. So Lieutenant Colonel Austin Travis, Steven Seagal, leads an unsuccessful raid on a Chechen mafia safe house by U.S. Army Special Forces to recover a stolen Soviet nerve agent, DZ-5. One of his men is killed during the raid. And that's the only thing that fucking happens in that opening part. Because you have a shootout, you have a well-shot shootout and sequence going on here at the beginning of the movie. But ultimately, means nothing. Just like a lot of fucking things in this movie. It ends in nothing. Nothing is accomplished. Because they don't get the nerve agent. And the only thing that's accomplished is one of Steven Seagal's men gets killed. Great. It's a great way to start off your movie where you have a mission that results in fucking nothing. So then you have Dr. David Grant, played by Kurt Russell, who, you know, this wimpy United States Naval Academy graduate, and now a consultant for the U.S. Army's intelligence community, is informed that the world's most feared terrorist, El-Sayed Jaffa, Andreas Katsulas, has been taken into custody. And shortly thereafter, Oceanic Airlines Flight 343, a Boeing 747-200, leaves Athens, Greece, bound for Washington, D.C., and it is hijacked by Jaffa's lieutenant, Naji Hassan, David Suchet, and a number of Jaffa's men. This is a blink and you miss it takeover scene. It literally feels like it took 30 seconds for David Suchet and company to take the plane. And it probably, you know, this film tries to pride itself, and a lot of people pride it for being realistic. Well, maybe that would happen in real life. But you know what? Just because it's more realistic doesn't give it an excuse to be so fucking boring. Realistic doesn't have to be boring. I've seen that before in a lot of movies, that they're realistic, but they're also not fucking boring. And this movie is boring. So, nothing happens. You have a quick blink and you miss it takeover scene, and you cut from back and forth from that, and any sort of action and intrigue that might be going on there, you cut from that to more boring ass shit. This time, boring ass bureaucratic bullshit. People sitting at the desk, generals and whatever fucking people talking to Kurt Russell, talking about what their plan is in Washington, D.C., and I don't give a flying fuck. And then Grant is then summoned to the Pentagon. That's where you have all these wonderful, enthralling sequences of people sitting around talking. To join a team led by Travis, which is being ready to intercept the hijacked plane. They listen to Hassan's demand for the release of Jaffa, and Grant, however, does not believe Hassan wants Jaffa released. He believes that Hassan actually arranged for Jaffa's capture, that the hijacked plane is carrying a bomb loaded with DC-5, but Hassan wants to detonate the bomb over U.S. airspace. Then a plan is worked out that will involve a mid-air transfer of a special operations team to the hijacked airliner using an experimental F-117 stealth aircraft. The plan is approved, and Travis assembles his team at a U.S. Air Force base. They board with Grant and engineer Dennis Cahill, Oliver Platt. And the boarding is only partially successful when an operator, Cappy, played by Joe Morton, because they couldn't call him Chappie, because then that would be a ripoff of an Iron Eagle, is seriously injured. And Grant, who is supposed to stay put, boards to help lift Cappy into the plane. The 747 pulls up, though, putting too much stress on the boarding sleeve, and unable to board the plane, Travis sacrifices himself when he closes the 747's hatch just as the sleeve breaks, and he's blown from the F-117 into open air. Just like I want to be blown into open air too. Like out the fucking window. So I can get away from watching this piece of shit. But seriously, even that sounds like it might be exciting. But no, it's not. It's still fucking boring. Because it either happens too quickly, they attach to the plane too quickly, there's not really much of any sort of struggle, and also it's just shot. One shot just, it looks very dull. It's just, there's no life to the film. At least in my opinion. There's no life to the direction. It's just dull. It's flat as a fucking board. And then, with limited options, well, of course, those who survived insertion make it to the 747's lower deck, but with half their equipment and no communication. It is assumed back at the Pentagon that the team did not make it aboard. With limited options, operators began to search for their supposed DC-5 bomb. And Grant manages to make contact with a flight attendant, Jean, played by Halle Berry, despite Hassan's suspicions, and asks her for assistance in finding the bomb's real detonator. The officials decide to release Jaffa in order to resolve the situation. Meanwhile, Cappy and Cahill locate and start to dismantle the bomb. And then they find out that it's a fake bomb. Because we had to do another twist and pull another twist out of our ass and make you see a sequence that drags on and results in fucking nothing happening. Again. Then, Jaffa calls Hassan from a private jet, telling him he is free, but Hassan will not be swayed from his plans, and Grant realizes that Hassan's men don't know about the bomb, which means there is a sleeper on board, one passenger among 400. And whenever Kurt Russell said, I'm going to find a sleeper, I was just, I was like, great. You know who the sleeper is, Kurt Russell? It's the people in the audience. The people who are sitting down watching this piece of shit. They're the sleepers. They're the ones that are ready to fall the fuck asleep. I'm sorry, I can't fucking talk. I don't know what it is. This movie just enrages me so much with its fucking pointlessness and its uselessness. There's a scene where Kurt Russell says, oh, that's unnecessary. And I'm like, yep. This whole goddamn movie is unnecessary. Because there's nothing fucking to it. So then, U.S. Senator Marvros, played by J.G. Walsh, is called away from his seat to have a word with the President of the United States, only to realize he's to be sacrificed as a warning that Hassan is serious. And Hassan points a gun to Marvros' head as he tries in vain to get the President to listen, but is shot in the head. However, Jean spots a man with an electronic device and informs Grant. Meanwhile, the soldiers manage to use the plane's taillights and Morse code signal to the U.S. Navy fighter jets that they are on board and not to shoot them down. and Grant and Gene enter the passenger cabin and take the suspected individuals by surprise. But what Gene thought was an electronic device was merely a case of diamonds. However, Grant spots a real sleeper, Jean-Paul Demus, played by Robert Aposa, the man who built the bomb. Hassan attempts to fire at Grant, but is shot from behind by an onboard federal air marshal. The operators kill the lights, make entry, and storm the cabin where a firefight ensues. Stray bullets strike and break passenger windows wide open, causing explosive decompression, which blows 3 passengers and Demus out of the plane. The remaining terrorists are killed during the exchange, and the bomb is finally disarmed. The plane is able to regain its stability. In a last act of desperation, a seriously wounded Hassan kills both pilots, hoping the bomb will detonate if the plane crashes, and then Hassan is killed by wounded operator Rat, played by John Leguizamo. Which John Leguizamo is one of the few things about this movie I actually like. I was glad that he got the final shot on David Suchet. Grant is then forced to assume control of the plane and attempt to land the 747 at Washington Dulles International Airport, despite his limited piloting experience. Because we know that he's, a fledgling pilot, because we had a, useless scene that shows him learning how to fly, and then leads to absolutely nothing except just to show the audience that, hey, Kurt Russell has taken flying lessons, and this will come into play later in the film. Then he attempts to land at Dulles, but is flying too high by the time he reaches the runway and misses the approach, forcing him to pull the plane back up and circle around and try again. As the plane begins to climb, Grant visually recognizes the area surrounding Frederick Field, which is where he normally practices flying. Deciding to try and land the 747 there with Gene's assistance, Grant makes a sloppy but safe landing as he's unable to stop before reaching the end of the airport's relatively short runway. Sloppy means literally just blowing, landing and crashing into a few planes and making tiny explosions in the process. And then the 747 is slowed to a stop by ramming into a sand beam, and the runway's overrun area where emergency workers are able to safely evacuate the remaining passengers. And that's it. That's the end of Executive Decision. Does it sound like much from the synopsis? No, it doesn't. Does it sound like a movie that needs to take over 2 hours to get through this plot? No, it doesn't. But it does. Because you have so many fucking sequences that are just either talking, blah, 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 blah. There was so much talking, dialogue in this, that I just pretty much just started hearing everybody as the voice of Charlie Brown's teacher, from Peanuts. And then any type of action sequence that this movie does have is so quick. There's barely any action in this movie. Any action that's there is it's very quick. It's like premature ejaculation. It's just like, and then you're done. That's it. It's done. It's done. It did its part. It did its work, and that's it. That's all you have. That's all you have is those tiny-ass action sequences, which are forgettable. You don't remember any of those action sequences. What action sequences? What action? There's no action in this movie. There's no thrills in this movie. Edge of your seat, flying entertainment. Yeah, fasten your seatbelts for what? For the fucking long ride of snoozing? I don't get what people saw in this movie when it came out. I don't get the positive reviews at all. Then again, I know a lot of people don't get why, I love, bad movies like Howard the Duck, but, definitely watch Howard the Duck over this. It's not boring. I guess the film was originally conceived at Paramount. The studio put the project in turnaround and sold it to Warner Brothers in exchange for the rights to screenplay to Forrest Gump. Executive Decision was considered to be a hot project at the time, while Forrest Gump was going through multiple problems with script and casting. Ha! Well, you fucked up on that one, Warner Brothers. Did this movie win any Oscars? Nope. I guess the film also received full cooperation from the Pentagon. Didn't make the movie better or any good. Anyway, I really don't know what else to say about Executive Decision. Except, everything I said. Nothing fucking happens. It's nothing fucking happens, the movie. You have a good cast, a good, a I thought a great editor who was directorial debut was really lackluster and lifeless. You have writers that I know they can do a better job when their screenplay debut of a film called The Rescue, which is like kids rescuing their father from, you know, behind enemy lines, which I thought was okay, but it's still better than this movie. That's a problem. And this was pretty much the start of the downfall of Jim and John Thomas. They went on to write one more, you know, I could say decent action thriller and Behind Enemy Lines, which is a lot better than this. And then they pretty much, you know, went nowhere. And shit like this, I can understand why. And it's just a very boring, lackluster piece of shit movie. Okay? If you like the movie, that's cool. I don't. I hate Executive Decision. You know, if it was up to me to recommend a movie to you, I wouldn't recommend this movie. I would recommend you to make any other decision other than watching Executive Decision. Because it's boring, it's lackluster, you have a lead who just is there. Like, Kurt Russell's character has nothing to him. He's not memorable. He's kind of a dweeb. And it's frustrating to watch Kurt Russell, who you know can be a believable, realistic hero, but at the same time be a badass. Breakdown. But seeing him here struggle and just being this complete wimp is just hard to watch. Steven Seagal dying doesn't help the movie much either, and then you just have a bunch of twists that lead to nothing fucking happening. So you have a twist, oh, they didn't get the nerve gas. A twist, it's not the real bomb, it's a decoy. So they disabled, you spent all this time disabling a fake bomb. Great. Waste my fucking time. That was handled a lot better in Die Hard with a Vengeance, when they had the whole bomb in the school, but you find out it's a diversion, it's a fake bomb. But the way that was handled and the way that was edited was a lot more suspenseful and a lot more exciting to watch. This just feels like it's just filler scenes, scenes of you know, the military guys climbing up shit. Great, it's so exciting to see John Leguizamo use a fucking a bungee cord to climb on part of the plane. No. So you just have nothing to it. I really don't know what to say about Executive Decision. There's not much to say about this movie, because nothing fucking happens. So, I'm going to use a quote from my friend Matt, you know, before, you know, I'll rate it first. What does it rate this movie? I'm going to give 1 star. 1 star is for a decent opening shootout, but ultimately leads to nothing. Steven Seagal had his moments, but was only there for 30 minutes, so he didn't have much to do. I like John Leguizamo, so I'll give 1 star for him, 1 star for the effects, and 1 star for the sort of landing the plane scene at the end, which I thought was decent, but not enough to recommend the movie. It's still a poor excuse for a thriller, in my opinion. And I'm going to use a quote from my friend Matt when we were trying to do our best on commentary on the film. And this movie, I want to grab it real quick first. Gotta say this to this movie's fucking face. This movie, Executive Decision, you're a fucking dipstick, you're a fucking prick, you're fucking hick, and you can suck my fucking dick! Anyway, thanks for watching my review of Executive Decision, and more like my rant. It was just non-stop ranting. I fucking hate that movie. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. See ya.